Well, we have been talking about the state of AI in 2022, and one of the newest steps in home-based artificial intelligence was announced last September. And this was Astro, a robot dog that is like a mobile Alexa that will roll around your house. And here's some of the things that it's being touted that it can do. Amazon Astro uses advanced navigation technology to find its way around your home and go where you need it. When you're not using Astro, it will hang out close by at the ready. So it'll kind of follow you around the house, but not be intrusive. Remotely, you can send Astro to check on specific rooms, people, or things. It has a camera. It has a camera that actually attached to a telescoping pole that can go up basically face level with people. So you can see a whole room, essentially. You can get alerts when Astro detects an unrecognized person or certain sounds when you're away. You can have Astro proactively patrol, investigate activity, and save videos in Ring's cloud storage. You can remotely care for aging loved ones, giving you peace of mind while helping them live independently.
That one's going to need some explaining.
Set up reminders, manage shopping lists, receive activity alerts, and more. Astro can follow you with entertainment, find you to deliver calls, messages, timers, alarms, or reminders so it can hunt you down in your house. You can turn off the mics, the cameras, and the motion with one press of a button.
Right.
And use the Astro app to set up bound zones to let Astro know where it's not allowed to go. And Astro comes with a detachable cup holder that can carry other items, such as a Ziploc container, like a Tupperware container, a blood pressure monitor, a Furbo dog camera that tosses treats to your pets, and other things. So this is the first home robot, like real home robot that can do robot-y things.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
So many thoughts.
So
let's get all the jokes out first.
Threa's here, and we also have KY Redhead. So KY Redhead and Thre are joining us for this chat.
Just the two of you.
All right, so Thre, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay, I gotta get it out first. Did Amazon buy the rights to Boomerang's The Jetsons?
Right? I was wondering the same thing.
I know that this is the year that George Jetson is supposed to have been born, but seriously?
But Astro wasn't a robot dog.
He was a regular dog. You are correct, but clearly they couldn't
Jetsons,
use K9 because that was already copyrighted. And also, did you not, like almost a year ago, do a story that started this whole scare Mo off thing about them doing a butler? This just sounds like they decided, a butler is creepy. Let's do a dog.
Let's do a dog.
That's totally right.
Yeah.
That'll make people less feel creepy.
Well,
even though we're collecting all the same data.
Yeah. Before we get into our huge discussion and whatnot, I will say it worked. It worked because I find this far less terrifying than a butler. Yep. Anyway.
Well, Smart House was still a movie that scarred me for life.
Same.
So good luck with that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it looks like a dog. I've watched plenty of sci-fi where it's a robot dog that zooms around. And anyway, I would also like to point out that in the suggested way it's moving, how are the Roombas that are all getting locked in the bathroom and you have to go let your vacuum cleaner out of the bathroom on a regular basis? Or it's encountered a cord. It doesn't know where it is.
It can set a boundary. Lost. You can keep it out of the bathroom, period.
Yes, theoretically. Until it gets lost. Because these things depend on sensors. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you've put your office chair in a place that it wasn't before, it's in a whole new room and has never seen it before.
A whole new room.
I feel like the level of clutter at my house inherently protects me from robot surveillance. Well, for that very reason.
Didn't you know, KY? These robots are only for HGTV houses where your kids only exist in one room. Because, they never have a toy anywhere, ever.
So, I've seen the little Astro thing. It's relatively slender. It could snake around toys, I think.
Snake around. That's a really good use of verbiage there. Snake around.
Okay. I also needed to expand upon the reliability of the healthcare aspects, because I'm sorry, did we or did we not just have a case before grand jury for things making similar comments? And also, this is basically asking you to depend on your Roomba to take care of your elderly loved one. And if I can't trust Roomba to not eat computer cords, why should I trust them with healthcare? That's already a big enough stress. I can see some of these aspects being helpful, but not 100%. I would ask them for more information on that mechanism. As it is, they're already recording and in video and sound, which is also usable in a court of law, as has been already demonstrated. So, there's that. That's good. I guess. And, yeah.
You don't think you're being slightly unfair by just calling it an updated Roomba?
I'm sorry. How does it move around?
It has wheels, like big wheels. Like it's not gonna chomp
turning.
It's not gonna chomp up cords.
Proud okay, it won't vacuum. Right. Good job.
It's not a vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
It rolls around on wheels just like a Roomba, but it doesn't. Okay,
I'm also thinking of those mechanical dogs that were out in the same era as Furbies.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking of how, we were all promised that they would do all of these wonderful things.
Uh-huh.
But instead, they just made sad sounds as the batteries died.
Okay, so
also, are they repairable? Because anything that moves is going to be more likely to fall off a shelf and die.
Happens to me every day.
Should never be on a
Sorry,
shelf.
Mo, talk.
Oh no, that you're fine. You are totally fine. So, well, KY, do you have thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Only cynical ones. I have watched and read too much sci-fi and studied too much history we don't have Alexa, we don't have Dots, we have cell phones, which I'm very well aware of, what all can be done with just that. And we've done fun experiments at our house where we'll purposefully talk about something that we have no interest in to see how long it takes for ads for it to pop up. And that's something the kids and I have done for fun. So that's been really exciting. Highly recommend, super entertaining. But yeah, the whole thing, it just makes me sad and a little sick because the people who will be like, oh, look, it's a dog, I want it in my house. I have no qualms whatsoever. And yes, I'll use it to monitor my kids when I'm just going to step out for a minute, or, I'm going to use it to, make sure that, we're secure. And I just feel like, just the way it's designed, that it's going to be relied on too much, and that it's going to be considered this replacement for common sense. And I feel that that's a slippery slope we're already sliding well down. And it just, I have a whole that's kind of encompasses my whole lifestyle between homeschooling and, being cynical in general, conservative, libertarian, who cares about people and policies matter because people matter, kind of person. So yeah, I don't know. Plus we're not a dog family, so they've already lost me on that front.
Okay, to be fair, can you imagine if you tried to give it the personality of a cat, though? Then that would be amazing. Definitely would have Terminator.
See, I'm a little intrigued now. See, and that's the thing. Atmos, Cybermen. Science fiction's not really fiction here.
K9, though. K9. I always wanted K9.
Yeah.
It's the most adorable robo dog ever.
Doctor.
And then you've got the hackers who are crazy.
Dog, okay.
Hello, dog.
Hackers who are crazy psychopaths who think it'd be fun to hack, random person's robo-dog and anything totally computer is hackable, period. Yep. And like people are like, oh, you can turn the camera off. Yeah, right. I mean, seriously, what is it? Whoever it was that it just came out in court documents or whatever that they really saved everything that you thought was a Snapchat or something. They're like, no, we really do save all of that, and just in case. And
the only thing illegal about it was that they didn't put it in the terms of service that nobody reads.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's stuff like that where it's like false sense of security, and I'm sad that enough people won't question at all. Like they won't be any hesitant at all. That just makes me sad.
I think this is going to be kind of a novelty thing for a while. I mean, they're going to have some households get them, but they're only going to be really in the major cities, just due to practicality of repair, simplicity of designs of the types of houses they would be in, as well as the fact that these things are probably going to have need for strong Wi-Fi and strong electrical, which, face it, if you're outside the big cities and have weather on a regular basis, you're going to have some variant in that, at least for it to be dependable. Because even as we become a society that is more and more dependent on Wi-Fi, there are some places that occasionally have Wi-Fi go out.
No.
Do we have a price point on this? Because that's another thing. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It
is their demographic they're aiming for?
$2,000?
$2,000.
Yeah,
this is going to be a glorified reboot of the dog from the 90s.
Of that dog. Yeah, it is totally.
I mean, that's even the price point for a reboot of the dog from the 90s. If this was a $20,000 dog, then we knew that they would actually fulfill those promises that they've listed, and it wouldn't just have some bugs or something. Also, why would you have that type of money around to throw at a dog? Dumb question. Some people do that.
I think that's part of the whole, it will replace all of these things for you. So if you're like, man, if I spend this much in gas and this much in time just going and doing a visual check, but really my elderly parent or grandparent is okay, they just need me to check every once in a while, or my 8-year-old is a latchkey kid and they really just need someone to check in on them, that $2,000, could be a lot cheaper than a caregiver or, a nanny who sits in front of the TV just to make sure there's a warm body. So I can see people justifying something like that for the replacement aspect, which is kind of the scary aspect.
Or even just setting up, like a bunch of cameras in your house, as opposed to buying all those. If you can have one roving camera, it'll be about the same price.
Also, I would be very curious to see, because they would be required to do a test of how real pets respond to it. I mean, this is a classic conundrum, but just the amount of signals that thing's going to be putting out, that's got to be hard on high-pitched ears.
Cancer rates.
I wasn't going to go there.
Oriel says, now instead of fleas, you have to worry about computer bugs.
That is accurate. That is accurate.
Oh, there we go.
Can you imagine?
Seriously.
Can you imagine if this was put out by Apple and every 6 months it had to get a mandatory upgrade that may or may not be great?
And every 5 years.
That's the thing, though. I mean, that's once they got you relying on it, that they could do whatever they want to.
It's vet cost, guys. That's all it is.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Okay. Okay.
So what I'm hearing is y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want this dog.
I'm gonna be. I'm going to be. I still watch grown men use their smartwatches to use the Force at checkout. And I phrase it that way for a reason. So yeah, there's wonderful things about technology. it's usually the practicalities and the reliability that is questionable. And in this case, it sounds like a really sophisticated data collecting toy.
It fetches your data.
It's very good at it. I'm sure Google will come out with a model next year.
Listen.
Probably.
And then different dog breeds, you could get like a little customization package and
they missed
decals
out on the actual name. It should have been named Data. I mean,
no, because then we would have to have a cat named Spot. And
I mean,
thank you for saying that. That's exactly where my mind went.
Future, so
have a whole pet family.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then how are you going to feel when your pet
hamsters.
Data has a pet named Spot, and how do you have an existential crisis about? Anyway,
101
that's
Robo-Dogs.
At least they didn't go with Cujo.
Yeah.
Just saying. That could have been.
That would have been a good Halloween face skin, though, like, a background for the dog's face on Halloween.
Right. Cujo. Can you imagine how terrifying that is? That you, just like on Fortnite, you can buy skins for your robot. Your robot pet.
Someday.
Someday we'll live. No, we won't. Yeah, we will. Someday
we'll all be living in a robotic hellscape one day.
Well, no, what I was going to say was someday we will live in a place of complete sense where nothing seems like it's crazy and out of this world and insane. But before that day comes, we all must die.
Well, at least your telemarketers are definitely not a computer, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure. Okay, so I have to say, I'm going to weigh in my opinion. Do you have a strong opinion here, one way or the other?
Not really.
Okay.
I think it's neat, but I agree that it's kind of like a novelty.
I agree that it is a novelty. I think that it is. I'm on the same page as you. I think that it's neat.
Yeah.
And I can't help but when the part about, where is it? Remotely care for aging loved ones, giving you peace of mind while helping them live independently. And our ladies here were so floored at that idea. They just gave up tons of negative feedback there. But I can't help but think of my father-in-law in his last year or so. After my mother-in-law passed away, he took a really, really steep and fast decline, and he just became depressed. And then that depression actually turned on his health. His health became really, really, really bad, to the point where we had to move him out of his home and had to put him in a facilitated area. It wasn't a nursing home. He was living independently, but there were a lot of things that he missed, a lot of appointments that he missed, people who would come and pick him up, things that he was just sleeping through.
Yeah.
Whereas if we had some sort of dog that we could look in and see him and say, there were multiple times that my sister-in-law or my brother-in-law had to go to his apartment and break in because they didn't have a key, and he had locked himself inside and was sleeping.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, what is happening? What's going on the other side of this door? Towards the end, he had actually passed out on the floor, and my sister-in-law found him unconscious on the floor. So there could be huge benefits to that aspect of it,
Yeah. It feels like it would need to be...
In all honesty, Mo, all that technology that you're seeing is beneficial for that caretaking purpose. It already exists in countertop units, particularly. And granted, that isn't rolling into the bedroom, but it depends on where you choose to put it and such.
Right.
They've already got they've got things that will overtake the speakerphone on your phone in order to, shout, "Mom, Dad, what's going on?" or "Can you hear me?" or such.
Right.
The pill dispensers that only dispense what is assigned for certain days and at certain times, and a beeper until you receive them. Of course, any text or read aloud as far as appointment reminders and other notifications. And of course, the camera system. Nanny cams exist for elderly care as well. It's just usually a matter of having consent forms, which is another thing.
Right.
The collection of this data with this dog, they would have to figure out the consent forms of, Amazon terms and conditions and all that.
So I think the whole reason why a dog is better, if you will, than, the camera top or the countertop cameras or any of the other things that have already been put out is simply because, and I'm speaking only in regards to our elderly family members who are living alone. It's a form of companionship. And as silly as that may sound, as silly as it may seem, it will give some sense of a friend to that person. And so with my father-in-law specifically, we had all of the technology. It was, he either didn't charge it, he would lose the charger, he would knock it off of the counters, he would put it away, he would forget where he put it, his phone was constantly dead. There were just constant things that happened where none of the technology that was already out was beneficial in any way. It just wasn't working. Whereas I know with my father-in-law, had it been this kind of pet aspect to it, he would have treated it a little bit differently.
It also charges. It goes to its own little unit, like Baymax.
Yeah. And we all love Baymax.
All honesty, the next piece in that whole thing is that if it were any other company, because I'm not sure that they're the ones I would want with healthcare data.
Yeah, that's one of the red flags for me.
And I definitely would not use it as a substitute or anything like from an in-home nurse. You know what I mean? He would definitely still need, or that family member would still need, an in-home nurse. I am not going to be trusting some robot to be administering daily health care, checking temperatures, or, doing a vital scan of any kind. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm insinuating. However, I do think that for the security aspect of it, for the peace of mind aspect of it, for the family members, but also for the companionship aspect of it, that I think nobody's really considering. I know for my father-in-law, who was incredibly depressed in his last several years, it would have been beneficial, not only to us as his children, but to him.
Yeah, I think there are some specific situations where a lot of this would be helpful. Worries about the company aside and privacy aside, with that kind of technology and that ability, which is probably only going to get more advanced as time goes on, assuming this doesn't just immediately flop and fail like a lot of things of this nature have. But for just a normal standard family, I think it doesn't go really beyond novelty at that point of, here, take this Red Bull to Tommy in the game room.
Right.
Thinking about, if you take aside the concerns about the company and privacy and things like that, you could say, fine, this dog could read audiobooks aloud to my kid, and, this dog could get my, help him reach something, or, whatever. So, there's a lot of lifestyle perks that you could have from it if all the other concerns aside.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there any last words we want to say?
I'm still open to the cat idea.
Yeah, I'm still curious about what this looks like, what the mechanics are. I'm sorry to be so negative. It does sound like there are a lot of fun things about it that could be useful in very specific contexts.
I will say it's pretty cute if you want to go Google it.
Are we talking like Jack Russell, golden retriever.
It doesn't really look like a dog.
It doesn't look like a
even
dog.
Look like a dog. Did they even bother to change the butler design? Did they just decide to call it a dog?
No, I mean it looks like a robot pet, but it looks more like something out of Star Wars than a dog.
I also really
it's a little elongated car thing with a screen face.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It looks like a duck. It looks like one of those
See,
old
now I would have been
ducks.
open to the idea of a duck. I would have been open to the idea of a duck, but the dog, I don't know. It just,
I don't see it as a dog, though. It just looks like it needs a pull string, and it's a duck.
Yeah. So Oriole pointed out the most beneficial piece in all of this in the chat, and he said we would not have to worry about shedding. And that is literally one of the first things that I thought of. I could have a dog and not have to worry about shedding. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Love y'all.
Of course. Have a good day.